guys. I just lost Stefanos. I seen him in the studio. Who knows what happened to him? Anyways, for tonight, share this out. More legal stuff we're going to be talking about. What's one of the cases coming up? A couple of things. Patrick Brown will be talking about him today and what Stefanos was doing with him. What else we got here? David Romlewski versus His Majesty the King. We're going to be talking about that, what happened. Give you a little bit of background on this case. This is going back to the Freedom Convoy. And Stefanos is back in. Oh, here you come. You can join us on the show, Stefanos. I see a nod.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got the wrong login there.
Oh, you're good.
No, I wasn't good. Really, I had to. I was the wrong login. I'm sending you a link there in case you didn't get it in the private chat too. By the way, just in case you didn't get it.
All right, I'm going to share the screen here. You want to get right into this?
Yeah, let's dive in.
David Romlewski versus His Majesty the King. It's no longer the Queen, eh?
Absolutely not. It's the King.
Man, I hate this new layout on the.
Yeah, that's what messed me up. I thought it was looking weird. I wasn't sure.
All right, here we go. So there's a file number 41702, David Romlewski versus His Majesty the King, Ontario criminal by leave. We're just going to focus on the summary or what?
No, let's pop in not only on the summary. The summary you can read off, sure, but let's focus in on the actual case, on the decision of why they tossed it and stuff.
Docket, parties, counsel, memorandums, factums, webcasts. What do you want? Which parties we know?
Look at the decision. I am just looking. Look at the date so you get the most recent decision.
Won't let me open it. Okay, so this is basically a timeline of events, right?
Give me a second. I'll tell you exactly. Just let me look here.
Factums on appeal. Oh, great. Not available. So I guess I just got to work on the summary here for now. Anyways, I'll read out the summary. Case summaries prepared by the office, blah, blah, blah. During protests in Ottawa against COVID-19 measures, Mr. Romlewski was approached by tactical police officers seeking to clear the area. In order to move out of the way, he sat down on the street and obstructed the tactical police. At trial, he was convicted of obstructing a peace officer and acquitted on 2 counts of mischief. A summary conviction appeal court allowed an appeal from the acquittals and entered convictions on both counts of mischief. Court of Appeal denied leave to appeal. So, November 3rd, 2022, acquittals on 2 counts of mischief, conviction for obstructing a peace officer. What does that mean? What are acquittals on 2 counts of mischief?
Hold on, Ed. Hold on. This is not right. Okay, so this is Supreme Court of Canada. I did have the case the other day. You see the bottom line? Scroll up there. Stop. See the January 10th, 2025 is no longer highlighted. I looked at that case. Scroll down. Scroll down. Stop right there. See 2023 ONSC. You see that's a hyperlink. And then application leave to appeal dismissed. You can't get it. I had access to this the other day when I was on the phone with you. Suddenly, they have removed this. This is not proper. Not proper at all. And this kind of kiboshes everything because that was the actual ruling and the reasons why they dismissed it. I find it highly suspicious that the Supreme Court of Canada would then suddenly remove that case and not let you see it. And if you go to CanLII, all you get is the two cases from the previous two that they show there, 2022 and 2023. It does not show the 2025 ruling, which, why are they doing this? Why are they restricting access to the public? This should not be restricted. I don't know how dare the Supreme Court of Canada go and remove this. This is improper on so many levels. I think that everybody out there should be checking this link out and emailing the Supreme Court of Canada and ask them why they removed the ruling. The courts are open to the public, and this is highly, highly suspicious of why they would remove this matter, why they would remove that ruling. Absolutely a big no-no, because now they're restricting the public from having access to this case law. That's oh my God, that's ridiculous.
So we got it here, 2023, November 24th.
Yeah, but where's the 2025 case, Ed? Where's the 2025? It's not there. And that's the final decision.
February 19th, 2022. Show more. Okay, R versus Hockaday. That's Regina versus, that's Queen versus Hockaday. Is that the same number there, 1764? Is this something different? Sounds familiar though.
Scroll up.
$2022.
No, upwards, not down.
$2023. $2022.
This is highly suspicious and not proper. And I'd hate to even say this, but this is unconstitutional. That ruling was on the Supreme Court of Canada's case on their website, and suddenly you don't have access to it. Not only do you not have access to the Supreme Court, you have no access to CanLII. So something is fishy here. Something is amiss here.
The accused approached a number of police officers on Spark Street, demanded they provide their names, and attempted to engage them in a discussion about the Emergency Act and other issues related to the enforcement against protesters. As he was speaking to the police, the Land Tactical police officers approached, tasked with cleaning the area. The cops didn't clean jack shit. How can they say they were cleaning?
Well,
clearing.
Beating people is clearing, I guess. All-out assault, unlawful assault on citizens of Canada. But you're at the 2022 case. You should be at the. So at this case.
So this was the original charge, I believe.
Right. It's the original one, and he was acquitted on these charges.
But not obstruct the peace officer, apparently.
Wait a minute. He was convicted on these charges. No, the original one, which way did it go? Was he acquitted or convicted? I got to look at it. But this is improper, highly improper for the Supreme Court of Canada to be doing such a thing. This is ridiculous.
You guys see my screen, Kenley?
Yeah, I see it.
The commencement of the trial prior to arraignment, the accused presented an affidavit to the court espousing a number of beliefs arising out of the King James Version of the Bible and including statements which I find would fit in the category of organized pseudo-legal commercial arguments, as defined in the decision Meads versus Meads, 2012. The accused affidavit was filed as Exhibit A on the trial.
Hold on. Go back to what did they call it again? An OPCA?
In the category of organized pseudo-legal commercial arguments.
That is OPCA. So this guy attempted to do the free man on the land bullshit, which I keep telling you all to stay away from it. This is not common law. It's not corporate shit. It's not nothing. This is bullshit. The free man on the land crap. This is what happens, and you get screwed, blued, and tattooed when you try this shit. And you'll end up in the slammer on top of it.
The accused affidavit was filed as Exhibit A on the trial. The accused disputed, among other things, the jurisdiction of the Crown to prosecute him and the jurisdiction of this court to try him. What do you got to say about that? No comment, eh? Oof.
OPCA, don't do it. This is the people that sit there and say the birth certificate shit, the same shit of you don't need a driver's license or insurance or license plate. Don't listen to that shit. That's bullshit. They twist words around. They twist words of the legislation around. They twist all sorts of shit around and screw you over. And on many occasions, they also try to use American legislation, which does not apply to Canada. Don't listen to these people. They will fuck you over in many ways. And your first question to them should be, why are you driving with a license and a license plate and insurance?
The accused affidavit was filed as Exhibit A on the trial. The accused disputed, among other things, the jurisdiction of the Crown to prosecute him and his jurisdiction of this court to try him. So the judge says, I summarily reject all of the accused arguments about jurisdiction as having no basis in law. For reasons summarized in Meads versus Meads, the alleged offenses occur in Ottawa and the Crown has elected to proceed by summary conviction. This court has jurisdiction to try the accused. The trial proceeded in an orderly manner. The accused was polite and presented himself well. The only concession that he insisted on was that I referred to him by his first name, David. As this did not interfere with the proceedings, I did so throughout the trial. The accused seemed well prepared in his cross-examination of each witness, and aside from the occasional pseudo-legal question, asked some pointed questions of the witnesses. The evidence before me consisted of 7 witnesses called by the Crown. In addition to a video and some physical exhibits, the accused did not testify in his own defense. During a lengthy discussion about the election to call evidence after the close of the Crown's case, I made it clear to the accused that statements in his affidavit would not be evidence before me unless he testified and was subject to cross-examination. So the judge is dismissing his affidavit, but he could have accepted it or listened to it had he put himself up.
Ed, and this is very key here, affidavits are nothing. They're garbage. They're just paper with bullshit written on it. And when you go to court and you enter an affidavit as evidence, as with the Evidence Act and all the previous court rulings, all evidence must be tested. Just because you write an affidavit doesn't mean shit. So if you're going to write an affidavit and not get up on the stand so you can be questioned on your affidavit, that's called testing the evidence. Then it's just thrown out. You have no evidence if you're not going to get up there. An affidavit is not truth. An affidavit is nothing. It's a piece of paper. It's hearsay.
So here we go again. This is just like the Gersies, the last Gersies case we talked about.
That's right, Ed. There you go.
The accused confirmed his election not to call evidence. So the judge is just hearing from the Crown, the cops, the videos, and this guy's defending him how?
Very stupid. This is the classic free man on the land stupidity, all right? Don't do it.
The theory of the Crown is that an offense of mischief was committed by the Freedom Convoy protesters from January 28th to February 19th, 2022, and that the accused was the party to that offense. Furthermore, in relation to the offense of obstruct peace officer, that the accused interfered with police officers who were lawfully executing their duty of clearing the downtown streets of protesters. The first Crown witnesses, Constable Irving and Sergeant Carvalho. I don't know why do I know this name. Carvalho. Boy, that sounds familiar. Testified that in January and February 2022, the Freedom Convoy protests caused gridlock in downtown Ottawa, caused by police blocking the lane that was supposed to be empty, also caused by city trucks that were there. We have pictures of this stuff and videos of how the city was blocking these emergency lanes, and how the city and people from the city and the cops were setting up how they were going to be locating the trucks, where, when, and how, and why. So this is false. Entirely blocking main roads to the degree that no vehicles, including cars, transit, or emergency vehicles, could pass. See, this is a freaking lie. This bugs the shit out of me. That's not true whatsoever. I was there. I was there the whole time.
Right, Ed. And you see, this is a problem when you get people like this who do stupid shit like this and blow everything and then set a precedent against all the rest of the people in Canada. And Hashem, no, affidavits are not written testimonies. If you know what a written testimony is, you'll see that that's not an affidavit. Testimony is going something more like, speaking about somebody's character or stuff like that, their qualifications or conduct on something. But those are not affidavits. Affidavits are different.
The protesters had essentially occupied this area. That's a lie. There was constant honking of horns. That's a lie, until an injunction was obtained. Constable Irving and Sergeant Carvalho testified, however, that they had never seen the accused as part of this protest. Constable Edward Bastien was a uniformed RCMP officer who was assigned as part of the Police Tactical Support Group on February 19th, 2022. His group was assigned to clear Spark Street, starting at Elgin Street and moving westward. He and his fellow officers moved forward, ordering people to move out or be arrested. And as they did so, a person later identified as the accused sat down on the ground in front of them. Constable Bastien arrested him at 1:09 p.m. 5 minutes later, custody was transferred to Ottawa Police Constable Carnegie. Constable Carnegie kept the accused in her cruiser and completed the arrest, reading rights to counsel and bringing the accused to a temporary processing center and then to the Ottawa Police Headquarters. At the time of his arrest, the accused was wearing a body camera that recorded his dealings with the police up to arrest. The camera was seized by the police, and a video showing the accused interaction with police was extracted when the camera was forensically examined pursuant to a warrant. Can they do that?
Did you say a unconstitutional police check carding? Is that what you said?
At the time of his arrest, the accused was wearing a body camera that recorded his dealings with the police up to arrest. The camera was seized by the police, and a video showing the accused interactions with the police was extracted when the camera was forensically examined pursuant to a warrant.
Right, so they got a warrant to get into his camera, so they seized it. Is he allowed to or not? I don't know. It was never tested, Ed. There was no challenge. But I will tell everybody this. I'm going to show you something on how my phone is, and I suggest everybody out there watching do the same. See this here?
Hang on. I'm going to full screen you here for a second if I can. Let me remove this.
All right. Here
Hang
it goes.
on. I'm going to full screen you here.
We're not full screen dead. I think you're backstage. There we go. All right, here we go. Here we go. This is what you put on your phones. Once you put that there on your phone, make sure that you also lock your phone. Never leave your phone unlocked. That's the stupidest thing you can do. And in this case, if you put what I have on my phone there and your phone is unlocked and they still go look at it, they're in deep shit. They're huge shit. This is client-lawyer privilege is extremely difficult for police to obtain a warrant. Extremely difficult. Hashem, you're going to have to learn to read backwards. There's nothing I can do about it. Ed, we can't hear you. You're backstage. You're not on camera. You're backstage and you're muted.
I'm not muted. I'm just backstage.
Ed. Sorry. Unmute your mic.
I'm not muted. You guys can't hear me? Stop messing with me. Looking through the screen. No screen. Good now.
Yeah, it says for my lawyer's eyes only, client lawyer privilege. That's extremely important that you put those on your phones.
Do you want to type that into the general chat so people can see it on Facebook?
No, because when I try to type in the general chat, it will come up as Kevin's name, and it won't let me post.
For my lawyer's eyes only?
For my lawyer's eyes only, client lawyer privilege.
And then what's the second line?
Client lawyer privilege. Not clients, client lawyer privilege.
Client lawyer privilege. I hope I spelled that right.
It's okay. It's kind of like white privilege, except stronger.
Silver's real money has joined us in YouTube. Yeah, that's where
there you go. Silver's got it correct.
I'm trying to unlock my YouTube channel so it becomes public. All right, there it is in the chat. I'll even put it up here big for you guys. You got it? Okay, back to the case, Stefanos.
Yeah, go back to it, because this is a very interesting case and so many failures and don't do's. It's not even funny.
So we got the body camera. The footage from the accused camera shows the accused approached a number of officers standing on Spark Street, demanding they identify themselves to him and insisting he has a right to walk past them. As a sovereign citizen, there it is. Comment?
Free man on the land. Don't do it. You're screwed right then and there. Period. Bottom line.
During an 18-minute interaction, the accused tried to engage a number of officers in debate about the legitimacy of their role and of the Emergencies Act. The officers on the front line were patient and tolerant of him, although resolute not letting him pass. One officer in particular, Sergeant Chantal Arsenault, showed all the best qualities of an officer in a crowd control situation. She identified herself to the accused, engaged him in conversation, and tried unsuccessfully to persuade him to leave the scene. As the video progresses, one can see the approach of Constable Bastien and his fellow tactical officers who are forming a line as they move ahead. The patrol officers move aside and the tactical officers move forward, telling the accused to move back. The officers waited while the accused took the time to put away his papers, then insisted of moving back. The accused sat on the ground and blessed himself. One of the officers said, "Get up, buddy. You're going to get arrested. Get up." He did not get up and was arrested by Constable Bastien. Issues of evidence, identification. The first issue I will deal with is identification. I'm satisfied the Crown has proven that the accused is a person arrested on Spark Street in the city of Ottawa on February 19, 2022. Constable Bastien and Constable Carnegie viewed the video footage in court and were able to identify themselves in it, and Constable Carnegie identified her police cruiser as well. Constable Carnegie testified that the person she arrested in that incident was identified by her as David Aaron Romlewski, although through a mugshot on her police computer. Detective Don Neely took over the investigation at the police station and dealt with the accused under that name and positively identified him in court. Authenticity of the video. I am satisfied the Crown has proven that the camera taken from the accused on arrest contained the video exhibited as Exhibit 5. In this trial, the camera was seized and secured by Constable Carnegie and given to Detective Nelly, who then assigned it a property tag and stored it in the exhibit's locker. Constable Hack Tang later examined the camera, identified by the same property tag, and extracted the video using forensic software. Constable Carnegie and Constable Bastien testified that the video accurately records their participation in the events of the day. Issues of law, obstruction. In dealing with legal issues, I will deal with the last count first, count 3. The allegation of obstruct a peace officer, contrary to Section 129A of the code. I'm assuming it's a criminal code, is it not?
Yes, 100% there, Ed.
Section 129A states, everyone who resists or willfully obstructs a police officer or peace officer in the execution of his duty is guilty of an offense. Regina versus Tortolano, 1975. The definition of obstruct adopted by the Ontario Court of Appeal was making it more difficult for the police to carry out their duties. And the elements of the offense as set out by the court were as follows: that there was an obstructing of an officer, that the obstructing affected the officer in the execution of a duty that they were executing, and 3, that the person obstructing did so willfully.
Hold on. So this is where we start getting into the nitty gritty, and I will tell you all again, do not ever attempt to self-represent. You will get screwed, because in this here, Ed, they're going straight through the criminal code. They're not going by any other thing. So the criminal code has jurisdiction here. So they're going under the criminal code. Properly, what should have been done was a constitutional challenge, because we know, and there's tons of case law, that when you are doing peaceful protests, which this gentleman was doing, you're allowed. Police could drag them away, they can do whatever, but when it comes to an arrest, it's still a peaceful protest. Look at the G20. Look at that court case where the OPP got fucked beyond belief in this one. And this was much more severe than a peaceful protest. So you need to do constitutional challenge when constitutional issues come up, because you take it out of this jurisdiction, all this gets put on hold, and then you go under the Constitution, which is a whole different bowl of wax. So under the criminal code, he's obstructing. Under the Constitution, he's peacefully protesting, which is allowed. So this is the difference in laws, in jurisdiction, and different spheres of jurisdiction and scope of law. All right, go ahead, Ed.
The definition of obstruct adopted by the Ontario Court of Appeal is making it more difficult for the police to carry out their duties. The elements of the offense as set out by the court were as follows: 1, that there was an obstructing of an officer; 2, that the obstructing affected the officer in the execution of a duty that they were then executing, and that the person obstructing did so willfully. Comment?
Again, you can sit down, you can not move, that's your protest. You can make all the noise you want, that's a protest. Don't forget, the Ottawa protest before these Nazi jackboot brown shirts went in and cleared them all, or should I say assaulted them all, there was a ruling and the judge said that the protest was constitutional, so it was lawful. So again, this is what happens when you don't know what the hell you're doing and you go on shit like free man on the land garbage, which doesn't apply. It's all bullshit. Stop listening to the people that tell you this shit. And in the case, actually, I want to bring this up. In the case with Dave Freedom, I don't know what his real name is, but he claims that him and Jane Scharf claim that he won because of the Bill of Rights. That's an all-out falsehood. He did not win because there was a Bill of Rights. And I'll challenge any one of you to ask this guy to show you the case law, the endorsement of his court case that says it was because of the Bill of Rights. I've asked for it several times. I've not been given it because I can absolutely guarantee you 100% that there is none, because it was not one on the Bill of Rights at all. So stop listening to these people. They're full of shit, especially Jane Scharf. We've seen Jack Tuesdays go down. We've seen a whole bunch of other people go down. Nicola Chapman was left with no representation the day before her court. She had to come to me. And I was on the three-way with her and Rebecca and everything, and saying that she was going to get a hold of Jane and get back to her, which they never did. And I had to step in last second and tell her what to do. And it's absolutely a sad day when people like that, especially a licensed paralegal like Jane Scharf, is giving people bad legal advice. I don't know how people have not made complaints to the Law Society about her. And, unless I don't know anything about her, or if she's got a firm or if it's just herself or what, but unless she has a lawyer on retainer at her firm, she can't even give you advice or even represent someone in stuff that are not provincial offenses. So when you go into the court, superior court and stuff, they can't practice there. That's outside the scope of their practice. So stop listening to these people. They're leading you down the wrong road, especially when she's telling people not to get lawyers and stuff and go self-represented. That's the worst shit. You should also fucking sue them, because they have errors and omissions. Insurance should sue her and their insurance company and put them in their place, because they've done a lot of damage to people. I keep hearing over and over and over.
Stefanos, if you're trying to set case president and court president, and you're a communist, what Jane Scharf is doing is freaking awesome. You're looking at it the wrong way.
I don't know how she's aligned or anything, so I'm not even going to comment to that. But all I got to say is, when you go self-rep and you lose, you're setting a bad precedent against every single Canadian in Canada, because it becomes case law. That's why Dave Freedom's case is not case law, nor is it precedent, because there is no ruling on it, period. I challenge you, everybody that sees this, message him and tell him to produce to you the court ruling. You're not going to get it, 100% guaranteed. It was not because of Bill of Rights. That's a total fucking falsehood. That's an all-out lie. And you're all going to get fucked if you try to do that shit.
In Regina versus Youssef, 2014, Justice Pacheco, as he then was, held that the offense is only committed by those who act intentionally and do so intending to make it more difficult for the police to execute their duty. The Regina versus Tortolano court held that it is not necessary to show that the conduct completely frustrated the officer in accomplishing his duty. In Regina versus Khan, 2014, it was held that there's no requirement that the interference with the police duty in question go on for a long time in order to establish obstruction. Regina versus Nasser 2020. Justice Parfait held that the act or omission constituting the offense must obstruct the officers in the execution of their duties in an appreciable way and not in a fleeting fashion. It need not amount to a major inconvenience of the officers. All that is required is that the obstruction extend beyond the de minimis range, whatever that means. Comment?
No comment, Ed. Just keep going.
As applied to the case before me, it is not necessary to show that the accused actions actually prevented the tactical officers from progressing. Constable Bastien described the accused actions of sitting on the ground as passive resistance. The accused raised through his cross-examining the question of whether the officers were actually impeding their duty, noting that the police would be able to walk around him even though he was sitting on the ground. The fact that they could go around him as he sat on the ground is not a defense. The accused was specifically told to leave, was given plenty of opportunity to do so. His action of sitting down was a direct and defiant signal to the officers they would not leave and would not get out of their way.
And Ed, I'd like to say there, that is an act of peaceful protest. He wasn't attacking them. He wasn't doing anything. He was sitting down. That's his protest. And again, they didn't take it to a constitutional challenge and they left it in this realm. So that's what ends up happening. They go under what it is.
In the case before me, the accused would take issue with whether the police who arrested him were in the lawful execution of their duties, which is a requirement for this offense. In the video, the accused challenged the officers at the same scene about the legitimacy of their policing on Spark Street on February 19th. He clearly took issue with the validity of the Federal Emergencies Act, which was deemed legal, was it not?
No, the use of the Emergencies Act was found to be unconstitutional in that court ruling.
So he could have used that in the appeal.
The inquiry means nothing. The inquiry is going to of course, it's going to clear the government. It's the government investigating the government. What do you think's going to happen? But when that's not a court of law. When you get into a court of law, it was deemed to be unconstitutional. So that's what happened when law is applied and what happens when bullshit is applied.
The evidence of Constable Irving and Sergeant Carvalho is that the ongoing Freedom Convoy occupation was, by February 19th, illegal and police were engaged in operations to remove the protesters and their vehicles. Constable Bastien testified that he was on duty as part of a tactical support group working with and in support of other officers to clear the streets of protesters. Whether the accused subjectively accepts the legitimacy...
Hence, it was not the United Nations that was there, that all these fucking government actors went and posted, because that airport where they had the UN planes is a repair place for the planes, and they redo their decals and everything. So those officers they were claiming were UN, they were not UN. They were police from Quebec. We have photos of their badges on their shoulders. So that was also another bullshit play to make all you people look like you're fucking nutbags. So stop watching videos and do the investigation yourself. Do the research. Don't even take my word for shit that I say, even on this show. Look it up. Read case law. Read law. Read all this shit. Do the research. Because you're all being played like a fucking fiddle purposely to fit a narrative of the government. Watch yourselves.
Okay, one more thing, Stefanos. I was there and I seen a lot of people that looked like they were cops, but they were missing badge numbers or missing names.
And Ed, go to the G20 ruling and you will see that when police are hiding all that shit, it's illegal. That's one of the big things that the OPP got nailed for in the G20, because they purposely hid their badge numbers and their names. They're not allowed to do that. As a matter of fact, I have a video kicking around somewhere where the OPP showed up and they were trying to cover their badge numbers and their names by wearing their bulletproof vests over them. And I called them out on it. And the second I called out on it, because I cited the case law, they were obviously well aware of that case. And immediately I made them all spit out their names and badge numbers one by one. There was about eight to 10 of them all lined up.
So I remember when they're clearing the streets, it was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday morning, I guess it was done and over with, third week of the Freedom Convoy. Fuck, they keep using occupation in the line, bastards. I don't know how they-
And that's where it's the job of the people who are being represented by their legal. It's their legal's job to make sure that they do not use that occupation word and that they replace occupation with peaceful protest, which it was deemed to be. So by the court in a court order. So this is again, Ed, I can't say it enough. Why is Tamara Lich and fucking and Big Red there? Why are their lawyers not putting a constitutional challenge in on this shit? You got more than enough evidence. You got fucking court rulings already that deemed this to be fucking a lawful constitutional protest. You got fucking court rulings saying that the fucking Emergencies Act was illegal. So what the fuck is going on here? Are these people fucking stupid? Is Tamara Lich stupid? Is fucking Big Red stupid? Why are they not bringing constitutional challenges and standing on the Constitution, and instead staying in the jurisdiction of the criminal courts where they're bound to be hung? This is fucking absolute lunacy. It drives me nuts to sit back and watch this shit. I can't believe it.
I'm gonna play you a video, and this maybe this will clear things up for you. Let me take this down. Okay, I'm gonna share my video. This is a YouTube video, and fair use applies to your YouTube and Facebook. And this is not news. Alrighty. Oh, I don't like this new version of StreamYards at all.
Curly, no, it's not because they want to see riots. It's because I don't know why. These lawyers should be looking out for the interest of their clients, and they should be in constitutional challenges.
So the lawyers don't know how to do constitutional law?
They absolutely do, Ed, and this is what fucking baffles me beyond belief.
Okay, it'll all make sense in a moment here.
It's a surprise. That's what we do.
Coming up on our Jewish Roots.
You cannot begin an episode teaching about the demon Satan.
Oh, Ed, no. It's not because of the Jewish people. It's none of that. Don't muddy the waters. That's just BS, man.
Hang on, just a term, just.
Man, seriously, Josh? Why do you always equate surprises with being blindfolded?
Yes. It's a surprise. That's what we do.
This isn't third grade anymore. I don't smell any pinatas, but oh, that smells funky. Did you remember shower this morning, Josh?
I think so.
Dude, what are we doing here?
Ta-da!
Oh no.
Oh man.
Okay, so still not very Judasy yet.
Glad you said that, brother. Here's the deal. Cows, pigs, they could be led by humans. They could be led by dogs and other animals. You see, sheep, their own instinct led them in circles, right? They would sit there and just follow one another, go like this.
Oh yeah, I can confirm that's exactly what they are. Stupid.
Or if you try to lead them with a dog, they might get spooked and break a leg and hit a chute or something like that. It wasn't efficient. They had to figure out how to efficiently get these sheep from one spot to another, and they found that they could do so with a goat.
So a goat herded the sheep,
Mm-hmm.
but how is he Judas, and how is this Jewish at all? I mean, honestly, Josh.
My brother's always a little bit skeptical. So here's the deal. They would train a goat named a Judas goat. They would put a bell around its neck. Okay. Now, this goat was trained to bring them to the top of a slaughterhouse. A slaughterhouse had many levels, but the killing floor was on the very top. And so, as you can see around these stockyards, it could have been a very precarious journey to get ththese sheep through all these little pathways. Well, this goat was trained to do so. And so he would walk with his little bell, jingling, jingling. And if all of a sudden the sheep stopped, he'd go beep, bleat, and they would follow him up to the top. And when they got to the top, he would walk through the door safely on the other side. All of those sheep would go and immediately be killed one after another. And he would receive his payment for doing so, a single unfiltered cigarette. He would immediately devour his cancer stick and run back to the start to grab his new group of sheep, because that guy was addicted to nicotine, and his entire life evolved to leading these sheep to the slaughter.
Get thee behind me, Satan.
You got it now?
Nothing to do with the Jews, man. And even this guy's fucking video is false to begin with, because he says an unfiltered cigarette, where you can clearly see the cigarette's got a filter. So he's full of shit.
But anyways, they do use goats to lead the sheep to slaughter.
Yeah, so who's the goat? In this case, the Canadian government's the goat, and all the fucking sheep follow it, and that's why they get slaughtered. So forget the Jew shit and everything else, because it's got nothing to do with that. It's all bullshit. It's just fucking, who knows why the fuck they're doing that? I don't know. Makes no sense to me. But these lawyers, maybe they're not constitutional lawyers. Maybe all they've done is criminal and that's it. Or, which I've seen before, certain lawyers want to set a precedent. So they attempt to take a stab at something to try to set a precedent. And who suffers? The client. That's what happens.
All right, is it up? Okay. The evidence of Constable Irving Carvalho is that the ongoing Freedom Convoy occupation was, by February 19th, illegal, and the police were engaged in operations to remove the protesters and their vehicles. Constable Bastien testified that he was on duty as part of a tactical support group working with and in support of other officers to clear the streets of protesters. Whether the accused subjectively accepts the legitimacy of this policing action is irrelevant. I find in the evidence that there was a legitimate police operation underway to end the illegal occupation of the downtown streets. I find that Constable Bastien and his fellow officers were acting in the execution of their lawful duties that afternoon. It is irrelevant whether the Emergencies Act had been declared or not. The police were entitled to clear the streets of disruptive people, just as they would be entitled to do so on any day that a crowd had gathered that was so disruptive that it was breaching the peace. At that moment, the accused was not part of the crowd they were approaching, but he interfered with the police as they moved toward it. My finding of legitimacy of the police action is reinforced by the fact that this was not a roundup of protesters or a kettling, as has sometimes been shown in crowd control. There's no evidence that mass arrest was the objective. At each stage, the police gave the accused every opportunity to leave the area without arrest. On the evidence before me, it is clear that the police were acting to secure the area to restore order. Yeah, so that's how they paint these things in front of the judge. So what's the judge supposed to do? He's supposed to be blind in front of the law, right? In this case, the video recording.
The politics and the judiciary to be kept separate. And as a matter of fact, I just put another link for you up in the private chat. You should take a look at that. It's quite important, and I can elaborate and explain better on it.
You want to read through these last 4 paragraphs?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
In this case, the video recording and testimony of the witnesses clearly established that the officers involved were in full uniform and unequivocally appeared to be police. There can be no doubt that the accused knew he was dealing with the police. He had, in fact, approached the first officers because they were clearly dressed as police. That was his whole reason for speaking to them. The police action was high profile and well known, but even if one was not aware of the context, it was clear to anyone present at the scene what the police were doing at the point they approached the accused, marching down the street in a line, clearing the area, issuing clear commands that those in front of them were to move away. The action of the accused in sitting on the street was intentional, was done after he took the time to carefully and deliberately put his documents back into his satchel. It was done immediately after he was told to move by the police. He continued to do it after he was told to get up and leave. The accused action in sitting on the street was a willful obstruction of lawful police action, a literal physical obstruction of the police. The accused willfully obstructed Constable Bastien and his fellow officers in the lawful execution of their duties. On the information before me, count 3, obstruct peace officer has been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Mischief. In relation to the offenses of mischief, the question is whether the Crown had proven that the accused was a party to the mischief brought by the Freedom Convoy protesters. There is, in my mind, no doubt that the Freedom Convoy protesters committed the offense of mischief by way of interfering with the use and enjoyment of property of the residents of downtown Ottawa. It seems to be a misconception of those from outside the city that Ottawa only consists of federal institutions. In reality, the downtown is a thriving area occupied by countless middle-class and working-class people who at that time were deprived of even the most basic use and enjoyment of the property. That's bullshit. The right to a peaceful night's sleep and the right to move freely in their own neighborhood. I had no problem sleeping at night. They stopped honking around 9:30, 10 o'clock. So it's not even noise bylaws. You wouldn't hear anything until like 8 a.m. So this is bullshit.
And bylaws do not supersede the Constitution. The Ontario Municipal Act, Section 14.1 states that bylaws cannot interfere or infringe on provincial or federal legislation or an instrument of the Crown. So, sorry, but the Constitution supersedes you, and bylaws are not laws, they're regulations. So, suck it.
According to the evidence before me, the Freedom Convoy mischief, the interference with property by blocking the streets, they always left one lane clear. And I'm going to say this again, guys. I've seen this with my own eyes, and I'll swear to it. City trucks, city plows, police cars were blocking the one lane that was supposed to be maintained to be open. It was the city, the cops that were blocking the streets, creating excessive noise and harassing residents. Began on January 28th. By February 19th, police were gaining control of the streets. The Crown theory is that the accused is a party to the whole offense of Freedom Convoy occupation. This has not been proven on the evidence before me. So they can't tie him, they can't link him to the occupation. Again, this occupation, God damn it. The accused was not a trucker, and there's no evidence he brought a vehicle of any kind to Ottawa. No one is alleging he was an organizer of the protest or was in any contact with the organizers. There's no documentary evidence linking him to the protest or its organization. There's no evidence he provided any material support to the truckers, such as transporting fuel or food to them. There's no evidence he provided financial support to the movement. The evidence of the accused's first involvement is that he came onto Spark Street midday on February 19th and engaged some patrol officers in obnoxious conversation. On the evidence before me, he appears to have been acting entirely on his own. The only appearance of anyone else in the video is a chance encounter with someone who is also approaching the police. The accused appears to know this man, but there is no indication they are acting together or that it is anything other than coincidence that they see each other there. There appear to be protesters in the distance, but the accused does not seem to be having any communication with them. At no point does the accused seem to be acting in concert with anyone. When he sits on the ground, there is no evidence that he is acting on anyone's instruction, nor does he try to get others to join him in his action. He does not shout at the nearby protesters to do anything to alter their actions. The protesters seem to be separate from him and he from them. Why would the judge say that?
He has to, because this makes him not guilty of mischief whatsoever, because he's not trying to make other people impede the police's progress or anything else. There's no that he's supporting them. So this is very key things that the judge is saying, and rightfully so.
But doesn't this identify him as a protester, or is he trying to keep this guy separated from the protest?
Remember, they're trying to say it was an organization. They're trying to say that everybody was involved. It wasn't one thing to overthrow the government, and that was because of that fucking loser Bowder, James Bowder, who put that MOU to the government, trying to make them step down and make him the Prime Minister of Canada. Like, what the fuck? Give your head a shake, buddy. You're not my Prime Minister. I don't even know you. No, thank you.
It is not enough to say that the accused was present at the scene and shared the same political views as the protesters. Something more is required. Regina versus Dooley, 2009, the Court of Appeal held that there must be a connection between the alleged act of aiding or abetting and the actual commission of the crime by the person who is aided or abetted. I see nothing on the evidence before me that this meets the criterion. I see nothing the accused did that furthered the actual commission of the crime of mischief by others.
There you go, Ed. That's just exactly what I said, and rightfully so.
On the evidence that I see, the accused was acting on his own, with his own agenda to harass the officers and argue his sovereign citizen rights, to film the officers and try to provoke them. His views likely coincide with the protesters, but I don't see anything other than he is on a lark of his own, spouting pseudo-legal nonsense to the officers, trying to provoke a reaction. When that doesn't work, he seeks to provoke the tactical officers by sitting down and obstructing them. I see no evidence of others supporting him or acting with him. I see no evidence that he's coordinating his actions with anyone else. I see no evidence that he's assisting anyone in their acts of mischief. The fact that someone has come into the area of the protest and committed his own crime does not necessarily make him a party to the entirety of the mischief caused by the convoy, even if he shares the same political views as the protesters. Crown alleges that the accused Facebook post of January 30th is evidence of his encouragement of the Freedom Convoy and that it itself would constitute sufficient evidence that he was party to the offense. There are problems with that theory. Firstly, the post falls outside the date alleged in the information, so it in itself could not be ground for a conviction for an offense on February 19th. Secondly, the Crown asked me to draw an inference that the post relates specifically to the Ottawa occupation. Again, they're using that fucking occupation. While that is an available inference, it is the Crown. My eyes are getting. While that is an available inference,
Inference.
it is not the only one, since there were other protest actions taking place in the country around this time. The post does not confirm the accused's sympathy to the protest movement in general, but he is not to be convicted because of his political views. Only criminal acts he committed. I find the post itself does not constitute a criminal act of being a party of mischief. This post would be similar to an act described in Regina versus Dooley, an individual who shouts encouragement to another to commit a crime from a distance where the other person could not possibly hear the shouts of encouragement, could not be said to have encouraged the commission of that crime. As such, that person could not be liable as an abettor should the other person commit the crime. Applying this to this case before me, the evidence is that the Facebook post appeared on the accused's own Facebook page, updating his status. It was a January 30th post, taken at its highest, assuming it was referring to the Ottawa protests, which is not certain. It seemed to be supportive, even encouraging, of the highest, assuming it was referring to Ottawa, taken as highest, assuming it was referring to the Ottawa protests, which is not certain. It seemed to be supportive, even encouraging, of the honking and protests. But as I understand Facebook, this post would be available to his contacts or friends or visible to those who would seek out his Facebook page. But there's no evidence before me that anyone would be likely to see this post was actually at the Ottawa protests. There's no evidence that the accused made any attempt to bring his post to the attention of the protest leaders or anyone involved in the Ottawa occupation. Again, occupation. In the absence of such evidence, the post of January 30th at its highest amounts to nothing more than an encouraging shout that is not heard. I'm even less persuaded by the Crown's reliance on common intention under Section 21(2) of the Code, Criminal Code, that is. There's no evidence before me that the accused formed an intention in common with anyone. The Crown could not articulate who the other person might be, other than unnamed protesters. There's no evidence of the accused being in contact with protest organizers or other protesters. There's no evidence of him being part of any group taking part in the protest. There's no evidence of any social media conversations on the accused had before or after February 19th, aside from a single post. There's no evidence from which I could draw the inference that any other person formed an intention with the accused, nor he with them. To do so would be speculation.
So Ed, that section 21 they're talking about, sub 2, is parties to an offense. Okay, so sub 2, 21 sub 2 says where two or more persons form an intention in common to carry out an unlawful purpose to assist each other therein, and any one of them in carrying out common purpose commits an offense, each of them who knew or ought to have known that the commission of the offense would be probable consequence of carrying out the common purpose is a party to that offense. So that's what they're talking about in that section, just so everyone watching understands what we're talking about here, because obviously they don't say what it is.
But under the Constitution, we're allowed to protest. Yes or no?
100%, but this isn't under the Constitution. This is under the Criminal Code, and the Criminal Code, which they're talking about, Section 21 that I just read out to you, makes you a party to an offense because it's a crime to obstruct. And this is why the judge earlier, where you couldn't figure out why the judge had said that, it's because there has to be a connection to him trying to aid or abet in a commission of a crime. So in other words, hey, come sit with me here, or hey, don't move, come sit together, or where they're saying stuff that they didn't, the communications of the Facebook page wasn't to the leaders. Well, who was the leaders? Well, it depends on which group was there. There were several groups, but it was not to any of them. So this is why it would make them a party to an offense. That's Section 21, subsection 2.
There are 2 counts of mischief before me, both arising from February 19th, and the evidence on both is the same. I find that the Crown has not proven either count beyond a reasonable doubt. So he's throwing it out, basically. Conclusion. In conclusion, I am satisfied that the Crown has proven the offense of obstruct count 3 beyond a reasonable doubt. A finding of guilty will be made. I am not satisfied that the Crown has proven count 1 or 2 of mischief, and findings of not guilty will be made. November 3rd, 2022.
So let me sum up what the case that you cannot see for some reason. The Supreme Court of Canada has removed it, but what it said in the end, in the conclusion of that ruling, was this guy was not represented. He was self-represented. He provided no authorities to his argument. So when they say no authorities, when they're talking about authorities, they're asking for case law. So there was absolutely no case law put into him. And not only that, but he went and made an application to the wrong court for the appeal. And so that court had no jurisdiction on this ruling. So the ruling stood, not this ruling, the 2022, which is what Ed was reading, but the 2023 ruling. And so the charges where he was acquitted of mischief, they stood. There was an acquittal, and that's that for that. Where he fucked himself was giving no case law, no constitutional challenge, no nothing, and not having a lawyer. And that's what screwed him in the end, because he ended up becoming guilty of mischief because there was no challenge, no constitutional challenge, which there should have been. Again, do not go self-represented. You will get screwed. You have to understand law. what they talk about. If you're charged in criminal court, they will stay focused directly, very narrow, to that charge. You can say whatever you want. They will stop you if it has nothing to do with that charge. It will stop you right there because you can't speak. And this, Ed, that you're bringing up now is a very good, because this is where the use of the Emergencies Act was found to be unlawful. And it gives you this stuff. And you see, this is the misleading rhetoric of the Canadian government, where they said that they were going to appeal, but you'll see it down here where it says appeal. You will see, if you scroll down a bit, Ed, there you go, and you'll see the last line. There's been no appeal filed. And guess what? They're way over their time to file an appeal, so they cannot file an appeal. So the ruling stands. But our great Canadian government wants to give the illusion of the people that there's an appeal in process, where there's actually not, because it has not been filed. So the invocation of the Emergencies Act was unlawful and remains so to this day. And it's too bad that people who have no legal background and don't use lawyers get fucked because they have no clue about this stuff.
All righty. Anything else you want to cover tonight?
No, that's it. Don't ever go on this sovereign citizen, free man on the land shit, the birth certificate shit, the driver's license plate insurance shit. Kick those guys. If you see any of those guys anywhere, kick them the fuck out wherever the fuck you are. Kick them out. And if they don't leave, call the police, and you'll watch their sovereign citizenship go down in a burning heap of flames as the police carry them off in the back of their cop car. Don't get fooled by these pieces of shit that profit off of your hardship that you're going to endure if you believe them, because they sit there and charge you $250 and shit to put on a workshop to tell you how to do a lien or something stupid like that, because you will get fucked, and you will get fucked hard. That's the bottom line.
All right, guys, here it is. Free pseudo-legal advice. I like that word, pseudo.
Hey, don't even take my word for anything I'm saying. Research the case law. You just see the case law in front of you. There's a whole shitload of case laws out there about OPCA, okay? Organized persuade, fucking legal arguments, commercial arguments, sorry. That will fuck you 100 ways from Sunday. And look, if you believe in the common law that these idiots say, which they don't even know what common law is, but they always try to tote, it's the law of the land, which means precedent case law, fuck, whatever. So don't even listen to them, because when it comes to common law, they don't even stare decisis. That's it. So don't even listen to these morons, because they have no idea what the fuck any common law means. Common law is changed by the stroke of a pen, and that's the bottom line. So common law evolves as society evolves. So you can't go and pick common law from the 1100s and try to apply it today, because it's more likely changed 100 times since then. Don't listen to these morons. They have no fucking clue what the fuck they're talking about. You will get fucked at great expense, and at the expense of your freedom when you're sitting there locked up in jail. So don't do it. You'll lose your house. You'll lose all sorts of shit. Pay your property taxes. That's a must. Even though it may be theft, that's what it is. And that actually is in the proclamation. So people who don't research their shit or know their law or go anywhere back or anything, or try to use American legislation in Canada, you're fucking retarded. Just flush those people down the toilet, kick them the fuck out of your groups if they're in there, because they will hijack them and they will cause nothing but fucking chaos, hardship and loss. Who cares about Doug Forrest? To me, that guy, he was another free man on the land. No thank you. Sad that he's passed away, but no, he's another one that believed in the Chinese Silk Road. Sorry, I don't believe in anything communist. So, and the Russian version, I can't remember what it was called at the time, but whatever, man. Don't listen to these idiots. You will get fucked beyond belief. And what I was trying to drive off before I got on this tangent was the fact that, look it up on the internet, there was a fucking idiot in Alberta, of all places, who was a free man on the land. And what did he do? He went to a senior citizen's home, an old lady, took over her place, kicked her the fuck out, and claimed that that place is now his consulate. Police entertained him for a short bit of time, but they got him the fuck out of there. So much for doing no harm to your neighbor. Stop being a bunch of fucking sheep idiots. Research your shit. Don't even listen to what I tell you. I don't want you to. I want everybody out there, anything I fucking say. And when I speak, just so you know, this is why I put up the websites. I speak from fact. I don't make up bullshit. I don't imply things. I don't try to speak people to fucking do stuff. I don't try to implant nothing in nobody's brain or anyone's thoughts. I speak from pure fact. Fact in law, fact in case law, fact in legislation, the law. Other than that, you guys don't do your research and research all this shit that you sit there and hear all these fucking idiots who just regurgitate the same shit and put their own spin on it. That's on you. Because you're going to end up with a real hard fucking bad time of it all.
Well, one more thing I want to bring up. There's good lawyers and there's bad lawyers and there's okay lawyers.
And there's good cops and there's bad cops and there's okay cops.
So when Kevin was having all his fun and he was able to, through donations actually, he was able to put together enough money to actually hire a lawyer. He was going to people that he trusted that knew the law to actually vet the lawyers. It wasn't just, I know we went through 5 or 6, a few times we went through this, 5 or 6 lawyers. Yes, yes. Check them out. No good. Check them out. No. Check them out. Nope. Sometimes 6, 7, 8 lawyers. And it's like, okay, Kevin, this one seems like the best of the bunch. And even then he'd question us on it. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. But Kevin was being influenced by Freeman on the land shit. And that's where I turned him away from that. But yeah, always do a check on whatever lawyer you're going with. If you got a lawyer that does every area of law, they're total fucking shit. Don't even go near them. Throw them in the garbage. If you got a criminal case, look for a lawyer that's for criminal, but also constitutional. Make sure that they don't do any more than 3 practices in law, because you need them to specialize in those areas. So whatever your need is for whatever area of law it is, find a lawyer that specializes in that area of law. Naturally, if you're going to be in criminal, also you need somebody that knows what they're doing in constitutional. So your best bet, if criminal, is look for constitutional and criminal combined.
Now, that being said, lawyers do what you tell them to do, not what you want them to do.
Absolutely. A lawyer cannot order you what you're going to do. You are the client, you are hiring them, and you are telling them what to do. They can advise you and say, no, this isn't a good idea, because doesn't mean you have to go along with it. You can always say, no, thanks for your concern, but this is what I want. And the lawyer has to do it because they are your representation. You're the client, not them.
Now, that being said, if you don't ask the lawyer the right questions, you're not going to get the right answers. True?
Sure, but that's what the lawyer is there for. So if he advises you something, I would highly encourage you to ask why and have an explanation for it. What the repercussions would be if you don't go that route, what the repercussions might be if you do. It ultimately, again, it comes down to your decision, what you want, not what the lawyer wants.
Now, that partially answers the question of what happened to Tamara Leach and Chris Barber.
Who the fuck knows, Ed? I have no idea. I'm not there. I'm not their lawyer. I don't speak to them personally, so I have no idea what the fuck is going on. I'm just baffled beyond belief of why there's been no constitutional actions issued in any of the fucking cases in Arthur's Pawlowski, in the Coots 4, anybody. There's been no constitutional challenges issued. It blows my fucking mind 100%.
Maybe Ezra's getting tired of covering protests, and he wants to make sure some people go down for this stuff so they won't protest anymore.
I don't know, Ed. I'm not going to
I'm
get
speculating, of course.
I'm going to get on with that Ezra shit, but I'll tell you what I'll do. I had a gentleman approach me during this bullshit, and I alerted them that the victim service charge is unconstitutional. It's been found to be unconstitutional. I shit you not, people. Look it up. Just go to Google, type in victim surcharge unconstitutional. You'll see the case law. But they're still charging it in provincial offenses, traffic courts. They're still charging it. They shouldn't be. But when I question the Crown down here on why they're charging a victim service charge in traffic court, provincial offenses, they said because nobody's challenged it yet. And rightfully so, because if you got an $80 ticket, are you ready and willing to spend $50,000 to fucking beat an $80 ticket? And again, that falls to the problem of we have no one to blame but ourselves because we do not enforce our constitutional rights. And that would be it. And the Crown knows this. And this is why they continue to fucking charge a victim service charge. Anyways, so this person had Ezra's lawyer or paralegal, I can't remember, one or the other, from Rebel Media representing them. And when I sent them the links on the victim surcharge being unconstitutional, he sent me the response from the lawyer or paralegal, whatever it was that was representing them. I'm going to ask them for permission to share that email. And if they give me permission to share it, we'll share it. And then you can see the kind of bullshit that goes on. This is something that the lawyers that Rebel Media and this particular lawyer, if this was their client, which it was, if they wanted a constitutional challenge, they should have followed through with it. Why they did not, I don't know. The money's there, all the donations are going to them, so the money's there to be able to cover it. So why don't they? I don't know. This is, other than that, I can't speak past that because I don't know.
Maybe Tamara and Mr. Barba didn't ask the right questions.
I can't even speculate, Ed. I wasn't part of that conversation, so I have no idea.
All right, Sarah. Lawyers seem to not want to bring challenges. Personally, I've seen a lawyer not want to bother with conditions that violate constitutional rights. Instead, clients have to fight to have conditions varied. For example, conditions of youth not attending school. Cops argue they don't attend the school that they do. That they do. It's maddening.
Well, I won't even put that there on a constitutional issue. That's just the fucking police being dishonest and trying to frame someone. That's in my view, and that's my opinion. And that is actually not a bad strategy, because when they go before a judge and they stand in front of that judge and they try to lie, and you have the absolute evidence from the school and everything that these people do attend that school, what are the police going to say? They have no, they can't lie. They'll go deeper down the rabbit hole.
Cops lie all the time.
It might be a short-term inconvenience, but at trial, the truth will prevail. And at that point, it only goes to your best interest anyways, because you got a massive lawsuit. You sue the fucking shit out of the bastards.
Hang on. The truth will not prevail unless you've got a good lawyer and the facts have been put in front of the judge, not hearsay.
That's right. And that's why I said, if that person's got the proof that these people attend a certain school, then absolutely, the police are fucked. The judge is going to see it. The judge, even if the judge wanted to fucking rule in favor of the police, what's he going to do? How is he going to dismiss the evidence that they do attend that school? You see, that just cannot happen. There will be a massive lawsuit at the end of it when they're found to be dishonest piles of shit that a lot of them are.
All right, Stefanos, just an update. Apparently, I met someone last night at the Newmarket North meeting, and apparently someone else.
Wedding bells or no?
No, no. The only thing we got in common is that we were both trespassed, and she's fighting her ticket. Apparently, you've already spoken to her. I was thinking about bringing her on the show.
Hell, why not? Why not?
Okay, I'll reach out to her to see if she wants to join us next week. And unfortunately, she is self-represented too, so things are not looking good. But I don't know. But people just can't afford lawyers sometimes.
No.
Anyways, guys, if you find any value in this show, share it out. We do this just to educate you guys on what the real law is in the system that we're stuck in. And until things change a lot, it's this way. And keep showing you how free man on the land rarely works. We're still waiting to see the wins, not dismissed cases, but actual wins with case precedent. Let's see it if you got it. Because if you don't have it.
Yeah, and again, I'll implore all of you, do the fucking research. Anything I say, don't take it as truth. Research it. Please research it. I bring you up the pages. I post the pages. I bring you the truth. I don't speak out of my ass, so I back it up with facts and truth.
And if you think about it, they're trying to push us into some kind of communism tyranny in this country. I think we're already there. And what better way to do it? You get the legislation, commie legislation, and the government pushes it. They're trying to be tyrants, and they're doing a good job of being tyrants. We witnessed 8 or 9 years of this under Trudeau, and now it's getting worse under Carney.
Yeah, and actually, Sarah brings up a very good point here. In Niagara, at least, all the police now have card readers on the inside, plate readers on the inside of their vehicles. They're reading everything as you go by, but they already have it in the roadways, in the sensors where your car reports to when you drive over them. But now they got them there. So make sure your plates are up to date. Make sure they're renewed, because you don't want a theft being committed on you by the police or a municipality by issuing you a ticket and getting nailed with a victim surcharge where the only victim is you, because they've reached now into your pocket and stolen money out of your pocket for something that's not even a crime. Bullshit.
All right, guys. See you next Thursday. Have a good long weekend. I forgot. Cheers.